Good.
Should we got the presentation from Panasonic for email? Should we do that today or?
Yeah, I think so. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
We said that last time.
We have two presentations. One is hackathon task. We added one task, and another presentation is about grand design.
Yep.
Can I start?
Willie, what do you have first on your agenda?
We could swap the items on the agenda as well if we want to.
Yeah.
Since Panasonic had two presentations, probably we could move that one up.
Probably 5 minutes for each.
Okay. Do you want to share? I can stop sharing.
Yes. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, first, my presentation is about hackathon task from iPro. It's about we want to make a reference implementation and evaluation for transferring metadata over RTP screen. What I would like to do for the task is it's an overview. First, we want to make a reference implementation about it and API definition and study for some items and evaluate performance such as time lag between metadata and image. And here is overview of this scenario of this task. Where is my point? Okay. Here is a railroad, and here is a AI sample application over here. And this example first gets an image from the base firmware and send to the railroad and gets back the result from railroad. And it's over here, it's a metadata generator I'm going to develop, and it sends inference metadata into the video stream sender. Its video stream sender is on the base firmware. And with this API, I'm going to create this video stream sender will add the metadata onto the RTP extension header. In this figure, this video stream sender is on the base firmware, but we might have some other cases, just the video stream sender is on the container. Probably we can choose. And anyway, What I'm trying to do is, as I said previously, define the API for this purpose and study the required sequence, required information, and the proper implementation, and evaluate the performance because it has time lag between metadata and image. If it's I want to measure it the within the difference of feasible proper size, and study if we need information for some kind of synchronization. And if we have extra time, I would like to compare the performance with other cases. And anyway,
can I ask a question here?
yes.
So how do you propose to communicate with the firmware from the container? Is it the API? Is it what kind of IPC mechanism are you proposing to use?
I've just started investigating about it, and actually the developer worker is another person, and he's investigating about it, and
Because we are also doing similar things at
yeah,
Axis, and we have actually proposal to use an internal MQTT broker. So you would have
it's not the over with the existing image stream over RTP without RTP. Is that correct?
no, I'm talking how the container is communicating
Yeah.
with the sender. So at Axis, we have started to look at using an internal broker, MQTT broker, for just communicating between the containers in the system. And then, and if you have an external broker that also, you can do a broker to broker bridge. So then you can bridge some of the events or some of the metadata that you want to publish externally. And this is all standard components that are already existing. So it's something that we could just use like a Mosquito container. They're just a suggestion for how to, and also another question.
Yeah.
What do you propose the data format for the
Data format is it should be at least free format
like
with support.
XML or
How about the at the same time, for example, OnBeef supports some basic definitions around the inference metadata. I don't know. We should support such kind of very common definition format.
We have another proposal on this topic actually, which is to use protobuf, which is a it's using a schema and also backward compatible, so you don't have to use the same versions in the consumer and the producer. So it's quite flexible, and it's binary, so it's very much more efficient than using XML. So maybe in before we can share actually some basic protobuf schema to see if it suits your needs. It's we have just started this, so it's not really but I can share that with you if you want.
Ah,
I
yes.
have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I have a question about the metadata format. Since ONWIF have specifying MQTT to send event, also maybe be used for sending metadata in the future. If they choose use JSON to be the event format. And also for metadata, I think maybe they will choose the JSON. So I suggest we specify the same metadata format in Unimatrix and ONWIF, right?
I still want the binary format. So I mean, it makes sense to have JSON, but still it's not really efficient if it's large. Let's say you have including you know vectors like result vectors of the inference or images or stuff like that in your metadata. Then you have to base64 encode it in JSON. So I would like to have a protobuf format anyway. But yeah, I see what you mean. But I think we should start a discussion also on the binary format.
With proper, you mean?
Yeah. If we use protobuffer in Unimatrix, I also suggest to specify that in ONWIF, since usually the base firmware send the ONWIF metadata to client. So I suggest the other thing. Then the base firmware can do a simple thing.
Yeah, I
to
agree.
send it out. Yeah.
Also, we are thinking of another method than RTP to send this kind of thing. So we want to use Dash. So actually, Axis is working on a new ONWIF profile. We call it a hybrid profile, which includes pushing video, audio, and metadata to like a cloud consumer over Dash.
Okay.
So I will try to. We don't. I mean, for this task, we don't have to. You know, I think we can do things one step at a time. So, but I would like to have an alternative transport method in ONWIF for pushing data to the cloud.
Okay.
Anyway, so I can. Sorry, I totally interrupted your whole presentation, but I can share my the protobuf definition that we have done so far, so you can have a look at it. I think I put it on GitLab somewhere, so everybody can have a look at it.
Yes, yeah. I'm happy.
Okay.
Yeah, you can please share with me.
Sure. So, yeah, you can go ahead.
Anyway, although this scenario has a slight limitation on the RTP extension header, this case will give one of the easy ways for some developers to use their existing base firmware with small modifications with the existing for example, the combinations with some their proprietary functions already implemented and cannot be dropped, like our companies. And yeah, it's anyway, and that's all so far for the information about this task. So I'll share with you on mailing list or on the meetings when I make some updates about this task. Yeah, that's all for today so far. Thank you. And
Thanks.
we have another presentation. We I could have unshare, unshare.
Yes.
How,
Right.
how do I release the share? And okay, I found it.
Yeah.
Yes. We I could have another person making another presentation. Mr. Ogata, he will make some suggestion around ground design and want to update for some kind of items. Yeah. じゃあ、尾形さん、なんかちょっと尾形さんの説明軽く説明しちゃったけど、気にせずに予定通りやってください。
I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to give this presentation today. And this is the agenda. There are 3 items, and let me explain these items, or after that, I would like to discuss them. And the first item will explain another opportunity. So first item is purpose of the ground design. I would like to explain what IPRO wanted to with the ground design presented previously. And the ground design presented at the previous meeting was based on the Unimatrix overview. The reason for presenting it is because IPRO thought that it would be necessary to understand what kind of a system to build as a whole system, including cloud, when proceeding with each company. And IPRO would like to continue to update the figure of ground design based on the progress of study each time we found items. And second item about the time schedule. I think Unimatrix needs the time schedule for 2020 and future. If you, Axis or someone else, have some plan of the time schedule already created, please share with us all. If not, IPRO would like to create a draft.
Frederick, let me confirm about the time schedule. We searched inside the GitLab. I couldn't find some kind of documents regarding that describes the time schedule. Time schedule means about our tasks for 1 or 2 years. Do you have some time schedule already created?
I think we early on we kind of made a rough schedule. I think it was in the Hong Kong meeting, maybe. Yeah, but I think we said maybe end of summer we would have some kind of pre-release, but it depends on what you include. What you want to include, because at that time I think we were discussing only around the inference engine and the video API and the deployment API. So if we're now including all the items from the goals document, which are more stuff, we have like the capability API, we have like audio API investigation and so on. So I think from my
probably
point,
he will make the next presentation. He wants to restock the items for each time schedule and make the actual time, what the first start time and end time.
Yeah, we can do that at the end of the presentation.
And by the way, let me explain for supplement about it. About the time schedule, actually, iPro members were required from our managers to make and clarify the detailed time schedule for Unimatrix. To acquire our budget for Unimatrix. It's a history that Mr. Ogata make a presentation about the time schedule. Anyway, as he said, he or our company would like to create the draft of time schedule, and we want to discuss and I want to discuss based on the draft and share with us Unimatrix members all. And we want to be on the same page about the time schedule. But it need not be strict so far. It can be just current draft goal. It can be updated and can be modified. Yes. Sorry, Owata-san, could you proceed?
Okay, thank you. And this page, Unimatrix need to allocate the companies who are in charge for the tasks that have not yet been assigned. And when will be the time schedule for investigation verification? One after another hackathon. And third item is proposal of goals of camera resources. Unimatrix needs to run many software components on the camera and require a lot of hardware resources on it. Unimatrix needs to decide the target camera resource for Unimatrix. And the target camera resource includes middleware and applications. And middleware includes container daemon and libraries, etc. And this is iPro's first suggestion. RAM 300 megabytes and ROM 1 gigabyte.
Yeah, it's just for example. Start point. Start point value.
Yes. Yeah, that's all for items we would like to discuss today. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Can we go back to the second slide?
2番目。そうそうそう。
I mean, which companies will do what? This one, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So I think it's good that you started structuring things like this. So for the video API, I think for many of these, I think it's good if more than one company is involved. So for the video API, definitely Axis has started on that side. So we want to continue on video API. I think we already done some container base layer with a subset of OpenCV. So it's definitely something we want to do. And also, yeah, for the reference platform.
Okay. Currently, do you have any free means not allocated tasks with any company? For example, on this table, zero copy. Some company, Hikvision, with this issue on the hackathon on December. Is that complete or continue?
Yeah, we just give a mechanism to do the zero copy, maybe, but in I think maybe in the design of video API, they will give some explain about using this.
Yeah, we have done a driver for OpenCV which does zero copy to Axis hardware. So, but this is specific for Axis. So, but I think we can open source it so that we can share ideas with other companies of how they can do similar things with their hardware, because this is I guess very hardware specific. So, but we have been talking about open sourcing that component with Unimatrix so that it's clear, because it's not trivial to do this in OpenCV, because OpenCV is not really made for this. That's why in OpenCV there is like a specific class for GPU images and things like that. We decided to use the standard class for the matrix class for keeping that one, so you wouldn't have to change your program to use another like class for you know, having images. So but the work there is I think we could share that and give a presentation during the hackathon about this. So, but I would like to have another company involved about deciding what part of OpenCV is relevant to having, because we don't want the whole thing on the edge because it's too big. So we would like to have some discussion with other companies. So if we, I mean, Axis can be driving this one, but we want to have some other companies to discuss with. So I guess Hackvision, you're interested?
Yeah, we also do some research of the OpenCV. We can participate in and cooperate with you.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's on the zero copy, right? Zero copy.
No, you mean you are talking about the OpenCV, right? Not just a zero copy, and also to correct to choose which part of OpenCV we can use.
I guess we're interested in both things. So both like subset of OpenCV and zero copy. So
娜姐，那个 zero copy 我们应该可以看一下吧？
Okay. Yeah, these two parts we can also collaborate with Axis. Frederick, I think your first topic is about the OpenCV. Choose which part of OpenCV we will use in Unimatrix, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Also, these two parts, we can do together with Axis.
Okay. So I guess the best way to go forward on this is to have separate, like working group meetings on these tasks. So, because we are not, maybe all of us, interested in the same things. But to start things off, I think we prepare something for the hackathon, a presentation about the zero copy thing. There's already, for the subset of OpenCV, there's already a Docker file for building it. I suggest we just start start that topic, or if we can just have a look at that and see whatever parts are included right now.
Ogata-san, can you walk through again from the beginning to the end, page by page? 尾形さん、最初、ここでせっかくだから議論したいことがちょっとあるかもしれないんで、let me confirm about the、contents of the from the start. うん。ペペペってめくってもらいます。あ、そうそうそう。next. next. Could you go back one page? Go back to
聞こえますか？
戻って。
first page。
あれどこだっけ？あれでなんかこれプレゼンモードか。
ああ。
next、次、next。1ページ、ページバイページ。これは will update the figure. Yeah. next. 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 camera resource. next. It's about the resource reduction of hardware. One of the important. Do you have on the agenda for today about the resource reduction? For example, Kubage or Kubage versus virtual Kubage or some others.
We had scheduled to talk about the virtual kubelet, but since Microsoft is not joined today,
okay.
maybe I don't know if from Huawei you have prepared something about Qubit.
Yeah, no, that Kevin has another meeting just conflict with us our meeting. So we can't share the information from Kuwait tonight.
Okay,
sorry for that.
Maybe next time.
Sorry, let me confirm about the Kuwait and virtual kubelet. I have not studied the virtual kubelet yet, but I wanted to know the difference in terms of functionality or feasibility between in case when we select the kubelet and in case when we select the virtual kubelet, especially for the functions that might be required or useful with Unimatrix. Both are same functionality or some difference between the function that can be available.
I think if we're using virtual kubelet, the functionality will be less because I guess you can't do everything. It's not really a pod running, so you wouldn't be able to do certain things like migrating workloads from one node to another node and things like that.
Okay, thank you.
But some things, like some basic things, you would be able to do with the virtual kubelet. And this is all speculation because we have not actually tried these ideas. We have been thinking about doing some small tests.
And I think if the cubage has attractive functions, I don't know, but it would be better if developers can select the one from the alternatives which they need, cubage or virtual kubelet or some others, I don't know, by comparing the functions available and unavailable for each. And also, of course, by comparing the required hardware resources, it's very important. It's just my opinion so far. Thank you. じゃあ、尾形さん、次のページは、これで終わりなんだっけ？
これで終わりです。はい。
終わりです。that's all. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions?
Should we go through the table you had and see where companies want to contribute? Yeah, this one.
Hi, Frederick. This is Judith. Could someone upload this table so I can forward the table to my colleague and to check with them if they want to do some work for this, maybe Inverse API. But I need to check with my colleague.
Yeah, is it fine if I put this on GitLab? I'll put it in the private project. Is it fine from Panasonic side if I put this on the GitLab?
Sorry. Yeah, yes.
Okay.
I can do it. Yes.
Great.
That will be good for yes, for us. Yeah, that's good. This table is very good.
小原さん、GitLab に上げてくれっていう話だと思うんで、後でちょっと、内容確認しながらまたちょっと確認しましょ
う。わかりました。OK. Sure.
Hi, excuse me, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just have one question on your presentation. Is that you mentioned a little bit the resources needed for this, and this is your some kind of a minimum resource, or is it a target camera resources? Or what do you mean target camera resources? Is that something you want to do for this kind of capacity as a minimum, or it's like a standard for some kind of application? So do you have an idea, or maybe when we need to go through this part during our hackathon and to work out some kind of minimum resources? I don't know what is your plan, or maybe Access have some other suggestion on this part.
説明できますか？このリソースの、
目標値
あれを言えばいいと思うんですよ。このラムのサイズとロムのサイズは、このユニマトリクス用にアディショナルで必要な、サイズのつもりで書いてますと。はい、で、その、リソースは、ミドルウェアとアプリケーション、大きくメジャーアイテムで、2アイテムありますと。2アイテムが消費しますみたいな。
ちょっと厳しいかもしれないですけど、I think、
厳しい？
ちょっと厳しいです。はい。
About this resources, it's additional resources required for Unimatrix and minimum requirement. it depends on the requirement. The required resources will vary depending on the applications. So we should define first for the minimum requirement resources.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
So
this is the minimum, right? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I guess it depends on how many applications you're running.
Yes. Of
Yeah.
course, yeah.
So that's why what I ask is that it's a standard resource or minimum, because if we say minimum resources, that means maybe just only one container installed into a camera. So this should be considered as a minimum resources, right? But if multiple container can be installed into one camera, it also it depends on some kind of camera specification and capacity, and different cameras have a different thing to do. So it's just to have some idea. I don't know, Frederick, do we going to define this kind of thing through our hackathon meeting, or you prefer each manufacturer define by themselves? So it's
I think it's a good idea to make a budget. So it would be good if Panasonic, you've already done some basic budgeting, I guess. So it would be good to have a more detailed breakdown of this 300 megabytes, what it is. And so we know that container D takes such and such amount. We know that if we want to include cube edge, it takes 100 megabytes. And so it would be good to have, and we know that OpenCV is the size and so on. So to have some kind of budget that's as to see where we are right now.
And budget for each use case, or?
I mean, budget for, and let's say we have one, like Adler said, we have one application that is maybe 50 megabytes. And how much is the infrastructure? How much is like the base layer? How much is like, the daemons and so on?
Yeah.
So in this budget, do you include a orchestration component like cube edge?
Actually, I haven't estimated the actual size. We just for the this.
Hello, dude.
Yeah.
Disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay, you said it was an example, so I think we shouldn't take too much about the figures he put down. We have to make a calculation. That's the point.
I can just say from Axis side, we came up with actually figures in the same ballpark, but that includes Docker, which is quite huge. So, and we see Docker as a more of a development tool. So for the production environment, we don't want to include Docker in the. So it's more like it's very convenient to use Docker for when you are. Because it's got a nice command line tool and so on. Mm-hmm. But for production, we don't want to include Docker.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, my connection has disconnected. I don't know. But line condition. Sorry.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's correct or not. So do you think we can put this part is something like a hardware infrastructure realization topic into our task list or topic list for the fact that we can discuss a little bit with a related manufacturer which has the most experience on that on this area. For example, yeah, Axis, Panasonic, Hikvision, or
yeah. I mean,
so
we can.
That should be very hardware related. And
I mean, we can do a very short presentation of how it looks for us right now with resources that includes Docker, as I said, which is huge. But it gives you kind of a rough estimate of what it takes, and then I think probably Panasonic. It would be great if you also could do a breakdown, and then we can just share those results.
はいはい。あれだ。
北岡です。
北岡さん、はいはい。
はい。今、シェアっていうか、ブレイクダウン、ここのリソースのブレイクダウンをパナソニックやってくれたら、いいって言われてるけど。
そうですか。すみません。今ね、私の回線がブチ切れて、なんかね、コンディション悪いんです。すみません。はいはい。
それできるよね。ラムとかのそのブレイクダウン、何々どれぐらいのターゲットっていうのをなんかブレイクダウンして、シェアしてほしいって言ってるけど。
はい、わかりました。はい。I got it.
はい。Yeah, I think we can do.
Perfect. Then I'll put that on the agenda so we can have then each of us can. So it will be like a joint session. So Axis will share something and Panasonic and Hikvision. So
we can. We will discuss a little bit internally, and we can see how we can, if we can share something on this part.
Okay.
From different view. Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have anything else to discuss around this presentation, or should we go to some other items on the agenda?
We have covered a lot of the topics. The hackathon we have discussed.
Yeah.
Panasonic presentation and the virtual kubelet. Microsoft didn't join. And then we discussed a bit about the teams.
Yeah.
We have a rotation of the time for a meeting if we need to do a rotation, or if we could find if it's acceptable to have one at a time.
I know this time is difficult for Japan, but I guess we chose this to make it more easy for Microsoft to join, but they didn't join this time, so it's. So what do you guys say? Should we kind of have a rotating time so that each time zone will get a sweet spot, or should we try? Or is this time good for you, or do you want to rotate times? I guess rotating times could make it a bit confusing.
It's pros and cons. Depending on if someone just can't join, it's a bit bad.
Yes. I don't know if my suggestion is good or not, because through all of our communication, I think, for example, if most of the work related to hardware, related to API, related to edge side realization, I think most manufacturers like Axis, Panasonic, and Hikvision, or even Dahua, we can contribute a lot on that part. We have most experience, right? So, is it possible that we can break down topic, and this kind of related topic we can make like a better timeline meeting between Europe and Asia, and all the other topic. For example, if we discuss a little bit Cuba Edge cloud side, I think Microsoft, Huawei, and they have more experience on that part. So maybe we can set up this kind of a meeting based on American timeline. Do you think is that good, or?
Yeah, if we do a
What do you think?
rotation, I think that could be good. If we do a rotation, we could select the topics depending on the time zone. So if we go for 2 different times, yeah. That's
I think we can shift between 2 times. Yeah. But I think actually Microsoft is interested in also edge topics, since they have
edge. Okay.
So that they have, I mean, their own NX inference engine, which they are interested in.
Okay.
So that I mean, that's something we should maybe consider, to have a backend for LAR for running on the next model.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's plan for a rotation. So every other meeting we rotate between 2 different times. So this would be like the
US time, or
the US
and Europe.
And then we take the other time. I don't know if
that's
morning.
earlier on the day, I guess.
Yeah, I guess before. Is it before 12 UTC is better, or is 12 UTC fine, or which time do you prefer from Japan and China?
Whichever is okay.
So 12 UTC and
in China, we are okay with that.
Okay. And Japan?
Yeah. The Japan time zone is almost the same as China, so it's okay.
Yeah, we are almost together, so
yes.
not be a big issue.
1 hour difference. Yeah.
So next meeting we schedule 12 UTC.
Yeah.
That's 9 p.m. Japan time. Okay. So next time will be a Teams
meeting in 2 weeks' time at 12 UTC.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I have a number of action points from Axis side. So we talked about. I will share some protobuf schema. I will look into the zero copy thing for video API, if we can publish that. And then do you want me to check in the presentation, the Panasonic presentations, or you want to do that yourself from Panasonic?
I want to make some modification on the presentation, so I'll do it by ourselves.
Okay, great, perfect. So do we have any other business, anything from Focal to say today?
Yeah, a couple of quick issues. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, we would really like to figure out how to kind of start a test and evaluation focus group for the project, since that's really kind of our key area of interest. I noticed there are some line items on the list that Panasonic presented that are related to test and evaluation. So maybe, you know, we had a nice discussion with the folks at Access this morning about T&E and how we can support T&E for Access. So maybe the thing for us to do is follow up with all the other teams about their specific objectives and go about kind of building out the T&E plan that way. Then maybe we can circle back during the hackathon with a more comprehensive proposal for, you know, sort of end-to-end T&E within the Unimatrix project. That feels like a bit of a kind of an underrepresented topic area at the moment, but I don't want to, you know, take away from group technical discussion if the topic is premature.
I mean, it's a really important topic. So, and I mean, in the long run, if we want this platform to be successful, the testing part is going to be very, very important because we're going to have quite diverse hardware. So to be able to, you know, be to not get bad will with the market, we really need to do good testing, because if you do an application, you want to know if that's going to run on all the devices out there or if there's a problem.
So does it make sense then to have maybe a T&E proposal from Focal, or to, you know, I guess how should we proceed with building out the T&E working group?
Yeah, so this is really, I mean, this is something I've been thinking about, but we haven't really discussed it, that we need test suites for everything. So at this point, you know, we have the inference engine, and so we're going to have like a subset of OpenCV. Of course, OpenCV, it had its own test suite. So, I mean, just setting up stuff to run the automated test suites that are already there should be something that is also think about how do we test the firmware, because there is some requirements on the firmware. So how do we confirm that the firmware is conformant? How do we confirm that a container application is conformant? Stuff like that. So I think a proposal of how to test things, the different things, the firmware, the application containers, the base layer, like a proposal on the strategy of testing, I guess would be really nice.
Okay, great. Yeah, we'll put that on our to-do list. Not sure we can deliver on it before the hackathon, but it'll certainly be a work in progress. And then, you know, I do think it maybe makes sense for us to follow up with each of the independent teams just to kind of, you know, we don't have kind of connections with each of the individual performer teams yet. So maybe a good way to get started is just to kind of make those rounds and, you know, get some introductions done and start those relationships in earnest. So yeah, looking forward to chatting with everyone about their T&E concerns over the next month or so.
Great. That's So maybe you can prepare something so we can start a discussion around testing at the hackathon.
Yep, we'll do.
Perfect. Okay, so I think we are running out of time. Any other business from any participant? All right. So thank you for joining today, and we'll talk again in 2 weeks' time.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye.